Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So basically Karma is a result of running my business for 7 years. So I set up a dance company in 2010. I ran a school and I also delivered workshops and hen parties and first dance wedding choreography, which was so much fun. And then that developed into running an events side of the business. So I started running an annual festival around hip-hop and dance and culture, and so it was very much a social enterprise, bringing communities together. So I ran these sides of the business for 6 years in total, and in the early stages of that business I actually went through living with anxiety attacks, which I found to be quite common with entrepreneurs, but it's not really something that's spoken about a lot. So I was fortunate to get a lot of support from my family, and over the year that I experienced it, I learned to overcome it. And then I noticed a pattern when I was mentoring other creative business owners. They would tell me that they were living with anxiety too, but on a daily basis, and they weren't really telling people about it. And it just really hit me that there are maybe a lot of other people in that same position, because I had a lot of people coming to me telling me this, but they're not necessarily telling people about it or their families or feel that they can open up about it. So this is where Karma was born. So I really wanted to create a supportive platform for entrepreneurs, for startups, you know, to get that support that they need with their mindset, as well as the creative business development aspect.
Wow, that's really nice to hear. That's good. I mean, when I was at uni, I was working with a singer who did her dissertation through performance anxiety and things like that. And I can imagine for people, you know, working in the industries like that and putting on events, it is a very pressured environment, you know, making sure things run smoothly, making sure everything happens the way you need it to. I even feel like as a performer, being on stage, I think I can remember one of my first performances was in front of about 1,000 people, some local festival, and it was very scary to deal with that. Even beforehand, knowing that was going to happen, it was quite scary. But that's nice to know that that's there for people to overcome and get help from. I understand there's also a film.
Yeah, so we sort of operate in sort of providing a variety of services. So, you know, absolutely what you were saying, you know, it is true. There's a lot of pressure on the shoulders of creative people looking to, you know, put themselves out there as performers, as artists, as creative business owners. So we offer like consultancy, but also run a series of events. So we are actually launching a new event series soon called Karma Community, to enable entrepreneurs to come into a space where they can talk about these things and get the support that they need.
Where can we reach that?
But, that's in the works at the moment, so it will be online on our website, thisiskarma.com. But a series of events that we have launched already is called Bold Moves. So yeah, we do have an example video that we've got to show here today, and this is about supporting people with their creativity and confidence with a bit of dance as well.
When it's ready.
Today's been really enlightening. Tania and Mary have been phenomenal about structuring this workshop to really unlock your creative potential.
For us, it was really bold. We've invented this whole kind of new way of doing things, of bringing together confidence, creativity and the dance. I like the fact that everybody seemed confident enough to help us in co-creating the workshop as well.
It's like coaching methods, as well as practical methods, as well as physical exercises and creative tools to engage your mind and your body, all in the same day, in the same event.
It was touching into creativity, which was a workshop that I was actually looking for. You wouldn't naturally think, oh, I'm going to go and do dance and I'm going to do some goal setting, but it did actually all come together really well. It's not just learning some practical skills, and it's actually feeling in the body and feeling energized, and as a woman I felt very feminine doing the belly dancing.
Every step of the workshop today was about how to improve something, how to improve yourself, how to, you know, open up yourself to new possibilities. and achieve your full potential as a creative person, as an individual, as a woman. I would say if you're even a little bit interested in this workshop, then you should absolutely do it.
Wow, fantastic. That's really nice to see. It's a good video. That was really nice to see. Where do those workshops happen?
So we have
where can we find them?
Yeah, so they're actually based in London. We have
Okay.
a venue partnership with Rambert Dance Company, which is fantastic. They've got a beautiful studio space on South Bank.
Yep.
So we use that space. And we're looking to run it bi-monthly. So we're just we launched that in April. So we're looking to build it now and sort of move forward with developing those.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of leads me on to the next question, though. So, like the new challenges you're talking about, moving these things on and stuff like that, and expanding it with other areas as well. Are there any new challenges that are you setting yourself for this business at the moment?
So actually we're currently conducting a survey, a national survey, which is a study into the well-being of entrepreneurs. You can find that on our website, on our homepage as well. And that's really just taking a deeper look into what entrepreneurs are going through on a daily basis with their mindset, as well as running a business, because we really feel that that's really important to address.
Yeah,
if you're not in the right space, then it's even more challenging for you to move the business forward. And a recent study I looked into recently mentioned that about 72% of entrepreneurs are dealing with mental health concerns.
Wow.
Which is quite a high number.
Yeah.
And if you think about 1 in 4 people have mental health conditions in general, that's, it kind of makes sense that a portion would be, business owners as well. And that study you can find online as well on, I think, Startup Grind, the website, the Google website. But so, taking inspiration from that and from people we've worked with and supporting other creative business owners, we're looking into how often do they feel anxious about running their business? Do they feel anxious? Are there any other, emotions that they experience that they feel they need support with? And just really working to create the most effective support system that we can in the UK for entrepreneurs. So within the survey, we ask, what kind of services are you looking for? Do you want workshops? Do you want events? Do you want a support group? Do you want an online community group?
Yeah.
So we're looking at those insights, and then so that's where the Karma community has come from that. So that's where we're starting up the next event series, purely around focusing on sort of mental health and well-being for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And talk about the workshops again. What happens within the workshop? So if I wanted to attend the workshop myself, what would I sort of see? What would happen within the workshop?
So, the goal of the workshop really is to enable entrepreneurs to come together in the same space and feel supported. So there are sort of group exercises that we do. Okay. So we're connecting, it's not just about listening to people talking.
Yep.
There are keynote speakers as well, so you can learn from people's experiences who are very successful at business but may have gone through experiences of challenges with their health as a result. And so different activities that sort of get you sort of thinking about ways that you can develop coping strategies and how we can support one another. So quite practical.
Great, that's quite nice. And it's nice to obviously be able to share that with other people as well. That's really nice to see. So moving from there, let's just go back to the questions. Is there any advice that you would give to future entrepreneurs? Is there anything that you would say if anyone's looking to, try and do that themselves and get into events and things like that yourself? Is there anything that you would, give them advice for, like how to prepare, for any sort of kind of anxious moments or any anxiety kind of things? Yeah. Is there anything that you would say to them if they're just starting off? Just starting off,
I would say it's really important in the long term to, look at finding a balance with what you're doing. Like, obviously, starting up as an entrepreneur starting up as an entrepreneur is a lot of work. It really is, and you're putting yourself in a position where you're, putting yourself out there you're putting new ideas out there into the unknown and you're trialing new ideas, and that's really brave and really bold. So I think just in terms of your mindset, reminding yourself of that on a daily basis, just how brave you're being.
Okay.
Because I really believe that, you know, if you feel that calling for yourself, not everybody feels that calling and that need to want to create something and build a business. So I think that's quite unique. So if you really feel that in your heart, then go for it 100%. You know, really embrace what makes you unique, embrace what makes you you. You know, everyone's different in the world, so and every business is different. So even if you look out there and you think, oh, there are a lot of competitors and a lot of competition, they're still all different in their own way.
Each one's got their own like unique selling point, I guess.
Absolutely.
And it's obviously they are good at doing the same things, but there is something within that business that makes them them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So every leader and visionary of the business is going to have a different kind of vision for, you know, how it moves forward.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, in terms of the balance, I would say, you know, think about what really makes you happy in life, what gives you that sort of serenity and those calm moments as well, because you do need that balance. It shouldn't be just, you know, 100% of the time full on 24/7, because you'll just burn out eventually, you know. And also, you know, there's something to be said for knowing when you're most productive in the day. So, you know, do you ever have those days where you feel like you haven't really done anything and you're like, oh, you know, but I've really been trying. And then you're like, how has this happened? But, you know, that's okay. And sometimes we have those days. And then sometimes you'll have a day where you work for like a block of 2 hours and then you feel like you've done like a week's worth of admin or something. And you're like, wow, I've been so productive. Yeah, exactly, right. So I think it's just coming back to understanding and knowing yourself as best you can in the beginning. Knowing things like that, like when are you most productive in the day? You know, do you work better early in the morning? Are you an early riser? Or are you better in the evening or in the afternoon? Because those are the moments where you can create your best work. And just don't judge yourself if you're feeling like you're having a down day, or if you're feeling, you know, a bit anxious about things, because we're all human at the end of the day and we all experience the same emotions. So it's just, you know, cutting yourself some slack and reminding yourself of what a great job you're doing, because not everybody, you know, would put themselves in this position.
Well, no one's perfect, are they, as well? I mean, you are going to face challenges, and like we mentioned earlier, making mistakes here and there, but, you know, you are learning from them. And I think, you know, even for myself, there are mistakes that I make musically, even as a teacher, but it's those things that really help define me, because I can look at those, not panic about that, because I can agree with you, you know, just being calm about those situations, and if a mistake does happen, it's not the end of the world. You know, you kind of pick it up and you learn from it, and you go from there. And I think, for me, I'm always trying to stay optimistic about everything. People often say that to me, you're too optimistic, but I don't think that's ever a bad thing. No, I sometimes do look at the negative things, but I look at that in a way where I'm just trying to analyse certain things and just trying to, you know, obviously continue to be optimistic and always look for the positives. And even if it's like, you know, you're managing the events, you've got to, you know, if there's something going wrong, you've got to look at, right, what's the positive outcome for this? How's the best way to resolve this problem? Because obviously it's tricky managing events. I can, and the anxiety from that, I can see how that does happen.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, and I think just on that point as well, and we mentioned this when I was running the seminar just now about the importance of reflection. You know, and so as much as you're working hard towards your goals, and you know you're so passionate about it, and obviously that's something no one can take away from you, and you feel like there's never enough time in the day almost, but it's just as important to take time away from that to reflect on everything that's going on, because also that's when you often have your moments of inspiration, when you're just paused and not thinking just on you know, the tasks at hand, and like you might just have a flash of genius. I can agree with you on that point. My brother's an advertiser, works as a copywriter, and his office is basically filled with ping pong tables, you know, arcade machines and PlayStations, and he says it's there for us to be creative. And I can see it, because he's taking himself away from his computer and away from his sort of ideas, and giving himself some time to just unwind a little bit and just kind of, and then the ideas will come. He says the ideas, they happen just like when you least expect it, and you're not pressuring yourself into coming up with these ideas. It's just relieving some stress and Completely. It's so important. And I was on a panel recently at Beyond Good Business, a conference in London, and we did our panel on positive disruption in the workplace, and there were so many really interesting and creative ideas that came from that, you know, that people discussed. And, you know, us on the panel were talking about creativity, well-being, artistic workshops and that kind of thing. And it's just like, there are so many ways these days, and I think that, you know, more companies are realizing this. There are so many ways to keep your employees engaged and keep them feeling creative and inspired, and, you know, things like that, like having creative outlets within the workspace, or whether it's taking your team on a team building activity or doing a workshop. You know, like those are really great engaging ways to keep people inspired.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think keep people calm and,
Yeah,
and keep them
exactly.
relaxed, and I think that's quite a nice thing.
And connect to the moment.
Yes.
Because we're so in our phones and our computers and everything
Oh,
these
totally.
days. So I think that that's really important.
If I lost my phone, I wouldn't know where I was.
Your life would
Literally.
just stop.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you. Would you mind if we had some questions from the floor?
Yeah.
Would that be okay? If we've got a mic somewhere, we can quickly. If is there anyone that has any questions out there at the moment? We've got any questions at the back? Anyone from the front?
Don't be shy.
You can shout it out, or we've got a mic here we can give you guys.
Is anyone here looking to be an entrepreneur, or do you run a business? Who runs a business? You run a business? Okay, awesome. Just starting out. Okay, cool.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Let's grab a mic. Here we go. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I wonder, do you have any kind of further advice for people who are literally just kind of starting out and getting things kind of, particularly if you're an independent sort of solo business founder, I guess?
Cool, yeah. So for me, I think early on, as well as the mindset, you know, aspect, what we were talking about before, I've worked a lot in marketing, and I really believe in the power of marketing. Is very important these days, especially, you know, online with social media, etc. So I'd say that figuring out who your audience is really early on is very, very important, because that will create the foundation for consistency across your whole business. You know, consistency in your messaging on your website and your social media, how you communicate with people one-to-one, you know, in groups, so that, you know, you clearly embody and know exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it and who you're serving. Yeah. Okay.
We'll pass the mic along. One more question.
I was quite interested in the thought about the difference between, or the connection between physicality, as in the dance, and a lot of projects that you work on are very conceptual or administrative, or you sit for hours at your computer working, you think. And I was just quite interested in what actually moving around or doing something physical can contribute towards that mental process.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. So for me, doing physical activity, particularly dance, it takes you out of your comfort zone in a way. So, you know, especially if you're doing it in like a setting, like a work setting, you know, chances are a lot of those people there may not do dance on a regular basis or haven't tried it out before. So it's giving you an opportunity to try something new, and that's transferable across any skill that you try out. But with dance, because it's very physical, obviously it pushes your body, you know, to achieve certain movements and gets you being creative. But it also boosts endorphins, you know, it makes you feel happy, it makes you feel good. And when you're dancing with people as well, it's a great way to connect with others, because, you know, dance historically as well, and music in cultures all around the world, you know, stems from years and years back. It was a way of communication, you know, and it still is to this day. Like, I'm part Jordanian and English, and so when I visit my family in Jordan, I don't speak fluent Arabic, I can get by conversationally, but we've always had dance and music as a way of connecting and communicating together. You know, it's such a huge part of their culture, and it's a really beautiful way of connecting with people. I also specialise in supporting Dance for Wellbeing, and I did some work with Parkinson's UK over the last couple of years around promoting the benefits of dance for people with Parkinson's. And actually there's a lot of research around that online that you can find, particularly through English National Ballet, who collaborated with Roehampton University. And the thing is, with Parkinson's, it's a degenerative condition caused by a lack of a chemical called dopamine in the central part of your brain, which affects your motor functions and your moods. And research has shown that when people living with that condition are in a dance space and practicing a dance exercise, it actually relieves their symptoms. So it takes them to a sort of almost a different space. So not only improved coordination, spatial awareness and movement ability, because you can have freezing as a symptom as well, so it actually opens up their bodies more. But you know, there have been cases where people come in with a walking stick and then by the end of the class they're marching across the room. So it's really compelling research like that. So actually dance has benefits beyond really what we think on the surface. So yeah.
Fantastic.
That answers your question.
Well, thank you very much for the time as well, and thank you for coming to speak about this and show us the film as well. It's really, really nice to see. Can we have a round of applause again, please, for Tania? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.